war will never be the same. It is verified in trained armies that their men go to war hoping that the same combat techniques and tactics already used in other scenarios will work perfectly in the current combat. It is true that some combat principles are repeated, but most of them become innocuous due to man's ability to adapt, acclimatize, and overcome himself in adverse conditions. It is also true that the battlefield, the natural terrain and climate conditions reveal totally different and often unpredictable situations that must be considered and updated minute by minute. And what to do in the face of such diverse events? First, we must understand that changes in terrain and climate interfere decisively in wars. Updating topographic maps must be constant, adding or removing artificial works, craters, roads, and all components changed during battles. Land classification must be constant. In a clear example, after the use of a defoliating agent, an impediment forest for armored vehicles can become only restrictive to the use of tanks, and the good camouflage resulting from the leaves for artillery pieces can become insufficient with the fall of the leaves to hide their molting and supplemental positions. In addition to the physical aspects, possible positions for artillery, mortars, machine guns, anti-tank weapons, assembly, attack and counterattack areas should be marked. At this moment, the fragility of these updates is shown, because as the scenario is dynamic many times before updating all received data, they become obsolete or simply changed. The only way to succeed in these conditions is patience coupled with perseverance. Added to the list of information to be processed, we have evidence of enemy movements on the ground. Trax marks can indicate an armored battalion with all its operational characteristics, engineering works can indicate defensive positions, and artillery barrage can be a preparation for an offensive. The collected levels of data make up a result or information. Each incident or occurrence on the ground must have an opposition pipeline that must be acted upon in a timely manner. An enemy armored car on a road towards the lines of contact must trigger the positioning of anti-tank weapons in the possible passages of the same so that it can be neutralized or destroyed. And how to synchronize defenses, make them efficient and effective, direct weapon systems and troops in order to provide the best possible results, determining every significant event in time and space. All this framework of measures, procedures and actions are part of a synchronization matrix and are objects of the so-called operational command and control, both at the tactical and strategic levels. War takes on multiple dimensions: space, land, underground, air, and sometimes river and sea. Vegetation becomes impeding, restrictive or permissive depending on the fraction in displacement. That is, a forest can be permissive for displacements of men on foot and can be an impediment to the movement of armored vehicles. And how to deal with the imponderables of war on a day-to-day basis? The only answer lies in knowing how to manage unpredictability, leaving as little as possible to luck, quantifying and readjusting the score and weight of each factor and making the lower echelons understand combat 2 echelons above, that is, a platoon commander. He has to know the consequences of his actions for the battalion to which he is subordinate. Finally, despite the horrors of war, it is often in chaos, in adversity, that we understand ourselves as humans, that we have flaws, but that we can learn from our mistakes, overcome our weaknesses and fears, and fight for something we believe in.